Welcome everyone to Ring the Bell. This is DS and we're here with the whole crew!
Even though we miss Moxie Molly. Sriracha Muchacha, Paloma Star.
I'm back again. I'm your dad bod demigod Joey Mayberry.
We're sending love to Moxie. Moxie has a baby to take care of. But we are Powerpuff Girls today!
Yes!
Why are we Powerpuff Girls?
Because there's three of us and you guys entertained me when I said wear Powerpuff Girl colors.
Welcome back, Joey!
Thank you, it's been so long. I'm so excited.
You've been killing it in the indie scene.
You really have.
It's been wild. Like in the past year, going from like, oh, I'm just gonna step back into the ring to getting named like one of Outsport's top LGBT athletes. Like what? What? Thank you.
We're here to talk about WrestleMania Backlash.
Backlash.
Gotta put that WrestleMania in there.
I hate that it's WrestleMania Backlash.
Why can't it just be Backlash? Like, obviously it's WrestleMania Backlash. What else is going to be a backlash of?
I don't think it was WrestleMania Backlash as much as it was WrestleMania Rehash, because it was the same exact matches.
So we had one women's match, but before we talk about that, let's talk about Rhea frickin' Ripley.
This is my brutality!
This is my bisexuality panic.
I absolutely loved it. And also, I totally miss hearing you say that live. Holy shit, was this almost obvious, but also such the right call.
Such the right call, and also I'm officially changing her name to Daddy Ripley because, Lord.
So what happened? What's the group that she joined?
Judgment Day?
Judgment Day. So it's Judgment Day with Edge and Damian Priestley, right?
Damian Priestley?
Is it not?
Damian Priest.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's so nice. He got married to V and took her last name.
I've been struggling without you guys mispronouncing everyone's name from like Ruby Rose. And I called Penelope Ford Penelope Cruz the whole time.
I don't know. Priestley might be my favorite. Like, this new name for this group is Devil Wears Prada.
Oh my god.
So Rhea Ripley joined this new group. Tell me a little bit about this group.
It's like the new generation of the Brood, and that's all I really know. So it's very sexy. They're just evil.
And hot.
Evil and hot.
Rhea just fits right in.
My favorite thing that they did was they tried to like fave us a little bit when she came into the ring, and they were like, who's this guy? We have no idea who this guy is. And I was like, yes we do, because they're wearing the ring gear they always wear.
I do love that one time that Rhea lost her gear and luggage, that she wore Damian Priest's pants. So in my mind, this is like kind of like what started it, because they could like wear each other's pants, and I feel like Edge can maybe like join in this wearing each other's pants thing.
Judgment Day of the traveling pants.
Yes, oh my god. I love it.
Her new hair.
Oh my god, love it. Like if I did, I was like, when I first heard about it, because I didn't watch it live, I was like, but I loved her old hair so much. But then I saw it, I'm like, but I love her new hair so much.
Right, sexy Joan Jett vibes, and I'm living for it.
Yeah.
And she knows what she is doing, and I absolutely love it. She knows exactly, like, that look that she gave to the camera, she knows where to look, how to look, her facial reaction, and she knows, and like how she was spinning all the women too for a while. Like, I absolutely love that she knows what she's doing, and she's like leaning into it. I am here for it.
And I also just really love that Rhea Ripley is joining like men's stable.
Yes.
We haven't seen that in a while.
Totally.
I'm hoping it leads to more intergender stuff, because she's got the size, she's got the power, she's got the athleticism. She could totally hang with the men. I want to see it.
And shout out to Edge for always like being part of like this group that kind of helps out like other people, because obviously the Brood was kind of to help him and Christian out, but then like the Edge heads, and then I feel like finally there's women involved in the mix, because I feel like a lot of wrestling factions kind of tend to like forget that there's women involved, because I kind of feel like wrestling factions kind of like, if you're moving through the kayfabe world, you're gonna have interactions with women, so why wouldn't they be in your little group, in your faction? So I'm glad finally there's somebody, not just like as a manager or as a valet, which is a nice added to it, but this time is an actual full-blown wrestler in it, so I'm super excited for this.
I feel like Edge throughout like his history has always seemed like a value in having a female in anything that he's involved with, because you think about it, he originally had like Terry, and then you move on to Lita, Vicky Guerrero, and he's always had some kind of female representation.
Right, and he's consistently working with referee Jessica
Jessica Carr.
Jessica Carr, and then
Jessica Simpson.
And I got to watch her interaction with the wife, Beth Phoenix. He's so respectful. So respectful. The best husband.
I mean, if the double glam slam that they didn't cement that, then nothing will.
I'm so happy for Rhea Ripley, but let's move to the one match we had. It is the I Quit match, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. What is behind Ronda's makeup, by the way?
I feel like she probably hasn't really worn a lot of makeup, so I feel like the chances that she does get to, like, an excuse to wear makeup, she's like, give me all the makeup!
She gets really excited.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, so like, what? You could draw on your face with this? I mean, no fault to her own. She's an Olympic athlete that has been training her whole life, so I feel like finally I could have some self-expression with my eyes. But I do want to talk about Charlotte's robe because, oh my god, that I think this is by far the best robe she's ever came out with.
I couldn't tell exactly what it was. I was thinking like maybe like Scarlet Witch, WandaVision inspiration, but she kind of looks like a Hydreigon from Pokemon. But like a snazzy one.
Yes.
Yeah, she looked so good. She knew that she would be losing it, so she came in like, I will go out like a bang. Before we talk about the match, I want to talk about the build, because...
What build?
I was gonna say, I'm so glad you said it.
No, but here's the thing, they did have builds, just nobody cared about it.
It's because it's kind of one of those feuds that you knew that you were gonna have to watch, because it's just force-fed to you, literally. Like, you had no other option.
It was like I was watching Ronda's fire go out, like, slowly. Because she came in with a bang at Royal Rumble, winning it. But since then, it's just been going downhill.
And very slowly, too, because I don't think it was a big falling off of it. It was kind of like, I'm like, oh.
Well, they didn't, like, play her to her strengths.
Agreed.
WWE's got this huge problem nowadays where if these two people don't like each other, then they have to interact on every single show. They can't, like, have their own match and, like, a promo that builds to something. No, they've got to do something together every single show, and the worst decision they could have made was say, hey, your interaction is letting Ronda cut promos, because, Lord, they're not great.
I think they're booking Ronda horribly. They're keep showcasing her weakness, keep putting her into this promos. The real problem I have just with build-up is that they're trying to make Charlotte look so strong, so whenever they brawl, Charlotte somehow, like, comes up on top, and I'm like, is anyone gonna believe this shit?
No, they won't. That's the simple answer. And Charlotte's been built like this invincible being that just can't be beat. And what do you do with that character? It's kind of like where Roman Reigns is at this point, where it's like, who beats this person? And now that you've got Ronda Rousey who finally beat her, like, who beats Ronda Rousey? Like,
I had major problem with how Charlotte was booked against Ronda. I think it's been really affecting Ronda's star power, so I had to issue with that. But shall we talk about the match?
Let's do it.
the match itself was great.
It was
I
a
really
fight.
enjoyed it.
It was a fight. It wasn't even a match. It was a fight. Also, before the match started, I know Pat McAfee started saying, like, oh, all these words on how to say I quit in different languages. And first of all, when he said the Spanish one, that was not right.
We will also accept Lo dejo, which is Spanish for I quit.
I'm so critical about people's Spanish. Like, my Spanish is perfect. Please correct me. My Spanish sucks too. I can't speak English or Spanish, right? But also, I thought he was just gonna say the Spanish one. I thought he was gonna be like tongue-in-cheek and funny because of Andrade. But then I was like, oh, he said the other languages once. I'm actually kind of glad that the build-up wasn't really there, because it made me kind of appreciate the match even more. Because I feel like if the build-up was there and they still delivered this match, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, it makes sense. But because the build-up was so low, I kind of like had like lower expectations for the match.
That is so sad.
I know, but this is what my brain has now been conditioned to think.
Do you remember that old Mad TV skit that was like, lowered expectation?
It was built more like an action scene in a movie than like a traditional wrestling match.
Which I kind of think it needed to be. Like, this deserved to be a spot fest, and they gave us so much. Especially, I loved the lightsaber duel.
Oh, yes, totally.
Like, Ronda doing that monkey flip and then standing up and just being like this. I was like, come through, girl.
Yeah, that was so cheesy, but I loved it.
I like how it started off right with a big boot by Charlotte, and I just like fiery. But I also like how they went into the crowd and was just laying their shit in every single time, because whenever you fight out in the crowd, you have to do that. Not only for it to look good for yourself, but also because you're literally right next to the people who just want to be like, oh look, that was fake. Oh look, that wasn't real. No, so they're just wanting to like hang on to that. But especially when she got put through the handrail and she was getting brutally beat, and how they were like cussing cussing at each other, but at the right time, as opposed to like, I know WWE loves to say like bitch and shit, but I feel like this came out more natural than just like saying it for the sake of saying it.
See, I love the brawl through the crowd, but the spot with the handrail got me because here's my thing with logic-wise, is you've got this I Quit match going on, and you're pulling on her, she's saying that I'm not going to quit, and then you're just like, oh, what do? I just let her go. No, wrench that. Like, pull her back.
Yeah, no, that whole interaction outside was awesome, especially because I feel like it was something new for Ronda, so it probably is like outside of her comfort zone, but she's been, I mean, I feel like action-wise Ronda does deliver. I loved how like they threw water at each other. My favorite thing about this match was how chatty they were. They were like, Happy Mother's Day, bitch!
Like, I don't know.
Happy Mother's Day. I was hoping you'd say that, bitch.
And I saw so many people get so mad about that. I'm like, really?
Wait, get mad about what?
Her saying Happy Mother's Day to her.
That was the best thing.
It's great.
It's Mother's Day and she's a mom. Why are you mad?
Which led into the finish, which worked out great in my opinion.
I think it's really funny because Ronda sometimes gets really chatty during the match. So they went full on with that, and she was like, no, bitch, I hope you were gonna do that, bitch. And she was just like bitch fest everywhere, and I lived.
WrestleMania bitch fest. My favorite spot, and probably the most like iconic spot of this match, is Charlotte upside down on the outside with that tree of woe and that armbar, just screaming bloody murder.
I really liked how for a little bit I'm like, is Charlotte crying? Like I thought she was like legit crying. I'm like, am I being worked? Is she really crying? But she did a really good job of like selling throughout the whole match and literally screaming like bloody murder. I was like, oh wow, that's really good screaming from Charlotte. Like it was very convincing, and I think it helps too whenever you have like an injury, you can like call back to it. You're not like thinking like, oh, okay, my arm hurts, so I'm gonna pretend my arm hurts. It helps. I know it sounds weird, but it helps if you have ever been injured before and you're selling during the match and you think about how much that sucked and like the pain of it. So I feel like that kind of was resonating from Charlotte.
The crowd last night did just want to see tables. There was like a consistent we want tables chant.
Oh my god!
Right, and they did not give it to them.
I'm kind of glad they didn't. I'm kind of glad they didn't give it to them.
But you know what I wanted?
Tables.
Yeah. WWE keep mentioning Ronda's mom, and it was Mother's Day, so I'm like, Ronda's mom better come out of the crowd and like beat the shit out of Charlotte. That's what I'd like to see.
I mean, has every feud kind of almost had Ronda's mom inch into it? Because like the Nikki Bella feud for Evolution, all about Ronda's mom.
Where is she? Come on.
Ronda's mom was also in judo as well, so she's an athlete. So maybe she's, I don't know, they're trying to build her up to.
If she comes out and calls herself Mama Rousey and tags with her, I'm so for it.
Is it homage to Mama Benjamin?
Mama Benjamin, Hall of Fame 2023.
Do it.
At the end of the match, we saw Ronda Rousey use the chair that Charlotte Flair set up, saying Happy Mother's Day. And she used that as a gift, and then ended Charlotte Flair with the armbar through the chair. Which was, I mean, I love when that happens. Yeah. I mean, Becky did it first.
That is true.
But
what do we think about the little dialogue at the very end? Where it's like, I hoped you were going to say that, bitch.
It's so good. It's so good.
It definitely seemed like like you said, like an action scene from a movie with like lines and like cute little, but also kind of corny two little spots. But it all worked out really well, and it was like a perfect time. Like I don't think it drug out too long. It was a good pace of it as well. So I think it was really good. Like I said, by far exceeded my expectations. I want to see what happens now.
I mean, I think the result was pretty predictable.
Yeah, isn't like Charlotte gonna like go get married or something?
Oh, is that what it is? WWE did announce that she got radius injury, which I'm sure it's not true.
Right.
But, so maybe she's getting married, yeah.
I think it's time. We need a little break from Charlotte, because you can't just have somebody at the top of the division for so long, especially with so many hungry young competitors, like especially on SmackDown. You've got Lacey, who just came back, Shotzi, who hasn't really been given a chance. You've got Aaliyah, who's great, but they haven't really given her a chance either, so hopefully they can build up some of these other people coming up.
The Guinness record winner, Aaliyah.
Oh, you guys like Aaliyah?
Yeah! What's next for Ronda Rousey? What do we think?
Bailey.
Ooh, nice. I like that. Right out of the bank?
Sure, why not?
Okay, I'm going with either Raquel Gonzalez or Lacey Evans.
I think they need to feed her with Zaya first, I feel like.
I forgot Zaya was there.
She's heel now.
I didn't know that.
She's like, I decided to protect myself! And she turned heel!
Poor gay WWE. Why?
No, it's really sad. Lacey and Raquel just came to SmackDown, so maybe I feel like they want to protect it a little bit more, so maybe Xia Li.
Lacey, I'm a little confused on with her re-debut, because they were like, oh, you're such an inspiring mother, American Marine, and then they all were like, stand up and show respect at Lacey's request. She came out, I was like, yeah, okay, girl.
What do you think of Raquel, by the way?
She's there. She's good. I'm seeing like she's there like I want to see more of her. Like I really liked her NXT run right before she became champion. I feel like once she became champion it's like okay, like now what? So I kind of like want her to have a little bit more, have that fire, kind of like have almost like that hunger that I feel like I haven't seen from her.
Do you think it's shady that they changed the name into one Latina name to another like commonly known Latina name? I feel like
a little bit, but I feel like everybody loses a last name once they get called up to the main roster for some reason.
I want to see her get her cousin and personal ring announcer Ricardo Rodriguez to come and introduce her.
Oh, yes. Do you think Ronda's gonna keep this title till WrestleMania?
I hope not.
Probably Survivor Series.
Sorry, I just had a match come into my head because
like
you got
That's So
face
Raven.
versus heel. Yeah, I did just That's So Raven. Heel Shayna versus face Ronda.
Oh, yeah.
I'd take that match in a heartbeat.
Shayna versus Ronda will be great.
Yes.
That's something I definitely want to see.
That needs to happen.
I just think Becky versus Ronda is up for next WrestleMania.
I don't want it anymore. Like, that time's passed. I don't need this match.
Yeah, I wanted it this past WrestleMania, but we didn't get it, but it's fine. So that's like, okay, the moment passed, so moving on.
That was Backlash, but before we wrap up this review, I just want to talk, because there's so many things that happened this week. I just want to briefly talk about a couple things that outside of WWE that happened that was like really cool. The ROH Women's Championship that happened on Dynamite. Deonna Purrazzo versus Mercedes Martinez.
Just the match marquee for that alone is iconic, no lie. They're both phenomenal.
I'm still a little confused on why there was a Ring of Honor interim champion. I know Deonna wasn't available for a Ring of Honor Supercard, but I don't think there's necessarily a need to make somebody the interim champion just because their champion's not available for a booking. But I mean, if I get to see women main event and AEW Dynamite, I'm here for it. And those women just so happen to be two of the best women in wrestling today, then I'm most definitely here for it.
I love seeing Deonna on the main event of AEW Dynamite, and that gear apparently
So good.
Yeah, it's an homage to like her earlier ROH gear when she was like a baby Deonna.
Oh.
So that's what she wore that, and it was so beautiful.
I was thinking Bumblebee from
Me too.
Transformers.
I really was too, or like Kill Bill style.
Thoughts on the match?
It was a really good, technically sound match. I almost feel like, I don't know, I think setting up for failure is too harsh, but they weren't given any favors. Like, it was only like 10-15 minutes, not exactly a big build-up or video package to it. And that was Deonna's first time on AEW, which is great to be like your first time on the show and you're main eventing it. But also, the crowd didn't necessarily know too much of her. I mean, obviously, I feel like most AEW fans know who she is.
Right.
But I don't feel like if it was just like a casual fan or that only watch AEW, I don't think they knew who she was. I kind of would have liked to seen a little bit more falsies to kind of get into the finish. I really do like that Mercedes Martinez used to use that Dragon Sleeper all the time. It's kind of like an homage to Bryan Danielson because she did the curb stomp before, who also took it from Super Dragon. Super random side story. I appreciate a good submission finish, but I felt like it almost came out of nowhere and it took a little bit long to get into it without too much like fighting back. Like, I like a good long finish if there's like back and forth, or I feel like Deonna was like, oh, okay, we're doing the finish now.
Yeah, I think I would have loved to see like Deonna reverse out of that curb stomp somehow, give a little bit of a struggle, and then work into that submission.
Exactly.
The match was good, but then it was just like, I just want some more. Given that it's Deonna and Mercedes, I kind of wanted a little more explosion.
Yeah.
But, that was...
It was missing that intensity, I think.
The sriracha.
Yes, exactly. The flavor, the sriracha in it.
Wait, is this where we put in the sound clip? Good, not bad.
Good, not bad.
Happy for Deonna for main eventing, but it was obvious that Mercedes is going to take it because it's Tony Khan. Tony Khan bought the company.
I'm not going to complain too much about it because I will take any win that AEW gives their women, whether it be main eventing more time or more matches in it. So I will take this as a win. But I just I feel like there's so much more room for improvement when it comes to the AEW women's, given time, given storylines, given anything really.
I think they just need to put more AEW women repeatedly on each week because it's worked for like Jade Jade Cargill, who's, shot up the rankings really quick. But it seems like the rest of the roster is kind of on a rotation for that one match per week, so you don't really get to invest yourself in these women.
I mean, even freaking Ronda Rousey, the champion, is rarely seen.
Wild.
Which is really sad. But hopefully, I mean, Maria Kanellis, when she was in control of ROH's women's division, she tried really hard to kind of make that women's division happen. So hopefully, Tony Khan, now that he has this, work on ROH women's division and maybe give a lot of women in AEW roster some time to
develop. Father, the Son, and the Holy Khan, please give us some women's wrestling.
Other big thing that happened was Mia Yim, my Korean sister, officially returned to Impact Wrestling.
This was a return.
Yes.
Like, this popped me. I was excited for it, and Mia looked like $1 million walking out on Impact.
She really did. I really loved her wearing that gear with the cute little shorts and stuff, and how the Blasian baddie, she even had a cool entrance and everything, which was kind of weird since she was just coming in to beat somebody up. I'm like, is this cool? But almost like, not necessarily. I kind of almost wish like she would just like come in and like start beating him up. But love the theatrics of it. And I feel like Mia was one of those that, unfortunately, I don't know if it was her style or what it was, that didn't really translate in WWE. Because obviously she's so successful anywhere else she's been. She was killing it in the indies. I mean, I can tell you all the amount of amazing matches I see Mia Yim have at Shimmer. And the Dollhouse at Impact TNA, so good. That was probably like one of my favorite top factions for sure. I don't know whether there was a disconnect or like WWE didn't get her kind of like they didn't get Deonna, for example. But you know what? I think that's okay, because now, thankfully, there's way more other options for her to continue to succeed, and I'm glad that she's back. Did you see that it was kind of spoiled? Her surprise return was spoiled because I think Lindsay Dorado took a picture of like, oh, I'm here at Impact or whatever, and it was just Mia Yim's Jumbotron in the back, like while they were practicing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm like,
such a mess. Impact is really just a must-watch. It's becoming more and more. They got so many good talent. I mean, they did lose Inspiration recently. Not sure exactly what happened, but they are stepping away. But we've got Taya Valkyrie. We got, Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, Mickie James, and then now Mia Yim is getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, and then this past show had 3 or 4 women's matches on the card, and they were all great. I'm excited to see where they're going, especially I'm really getting more invested in Giselle Shaw. I thought she was great, so excited to see what happens.
And shout out to Deonna, because look at her on Impact, main event in AEW. She was in Mexico for Triple Mania. She's literally racking up those frequent flyer miles for her, because she's literally wrestling everywhere, like anywhere in the world. So good for her. She's definitely putting that work in, and you could definitely see it paying off. I mean, I don't think she could have a bad match, but I think Impact is definitely where it's at for women's matches, for the amount of it and the quality of it. So don't be sleeping on Impact for sure.
That is our review of Backlash and some other cool stuff that happened around women's wrestling. Thank you so much for joining in. Paloma, where can we find you?
You can find me at Paloma Star on Instagram and Twitter. And if you have a chance, make sure you catch me at a local wrestling show here in May, because I'll be taking a summer sriracha break and I'll be back in September.
You can find me at Joey_Mayberry on Instagram and Twitter, Joey.Mayberry on TikTok. Also, check out the Golden Era podcast. We are everywhere that you can listen to podcasts. A new one drops every single Friday. And if you want to see me wrestle, I'm going to be wrestling here in Chicago on May the 20th, and you can catch me in San Antonio, Texas on June 25th.
And you can find me at DS Shin on Instagram and Ring the Bell DS on Twitter. And don't forget to watch our EST interview. Can you believe that freaking Bianca Belair was on Ring the Bell?
Oh my gosh, I watched it like twice already. I'm like, this is crazy. She's on the YouTube show. We help host. What? Mind-blowing. And such a good interview. So humble. So sweet. If you're not, after this, if you haven't watched this, go watch that interview.
And also, I'm just going to tell you, she's the sweetest person ever. Like, I'm not even lying. She is so great. And then, so after the interview was over, I was going to, like, go grab her mic. And then she thought it was a hug. And she, like, hugged me. I was like, wait, what? It was, like, the most awkward experience. I was like, I want to forget about it. But, like, she remembered it and she commented about it on my Instagram. And I kind of love that.
I know. It's kind of cool that she acknowledged that. Like, oh, what? Superstars have awkward moments too, just like us.
Amazing. And a lot of people ask me, what does she smell like?
She smells the sweetest, the nicest.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining in. Our regular programming will be returning next week, so don't yell at me so much, but see.
Seriously. Yes was in Korea. Mia. I'm here every month for every pay-per-view review. Joey's over here killing it in golden memories.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.